Hello and welcome to another episode of Workplace Wizards Podcast. This is episode number 43. This is called Cultural Humility. The reason why we're talking about this, we talked about this a little bit earlier when we had our co-host Gavin Wong. He had his daughter on our Workplace Wizards podcast, and his daughter was talking about how she went to China and went into some of the lands where he grew up. And she felt a little different. She felt like she was the first time she'd ever experienced being the only one, because she's half Chinese, half English, and she's a younger white girl. And she was in that experience where she was the only, white female. So today's episode is called Cultural Humility. And our guest host today will be Gavin Wong from the UK. Well, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said, "Nei hao ma, gung hei fat choi."
Okay,
And that
explain
is-
that.
And that is, how are you? And Happy New Year.
Happy New. Oh yes, Chinese New Year.
Because today is Chinese New Year.
Yes, Chinese New Year today. That actually did show up on my phone.
Oh, there you go. See?
Not that I've ever paid attention to it before, but it did show up.
I'll have to apologise for any Chinese people listening, because I probably obliterated the language just there.
I never even really recognized that it's not even at the beginning of the new year like ours. So this starts the new year for you.
Yeah, this is the lunar New Year. That's when it starts. And for Chinese people, yeah.
So you still go by the calendar year as well.
Well, for dates, but in terms of celebration, this is like in Hong Kong. This would be like Christmas Day. So it's a day of celebration, family, presents, bringing in the new year. So it's a good time. And actually, coincidentally, today is probably, depends when we can see the moon, is the start of Ramadan as well. So actually, there's a lot going on today from a cultural perspective.
I see. And well, that's a good thing, because today we're talking about cultural humility. So learning about somebody else's culture is exactly what we want to talk about today. So Gavin, I opened up with saying that before you had your daughter Grace on with us at the podcast, and she talked about her experience going to Hong Kong and then going to other regions. Where did you guys go?
Yeah, so in fact, it was this time last year where we came back this time last year. So we were in Hong Kong just before the Chinese New Year last year. And Grace, my daughter, obviously I'm half Chinese. Grace doesn't look really Chinese, does she? But I took her to Hong Kong, and for her it was an interesting experience, and as you can understand, because she was very often, we went to the very Chinese part of Hong Kong, which is the New Territory, so you don't see many white people there. You do see some, but they're mainly in the business area of Hong Kong. So she felt quite exposed, I guess, and different. And for her, that was a new feeling that she's never really had.
Yes,
in
so
the
it's
UK.
a new experience, because she felt like the odd one. And one of the things that she said during that podcast was it opened her eyes up to see how other people that are different could possibly be feeling, because they're like the only one.
Yes, exactly. So, it's really, and I thought that was quite astute of her, and actually to own up to that as well was really good. So I'm quite proud of her, actually. But yes, brilliant.
Yes, it was. So today we're talking about cultural humility, and there's a formula for developing cultural humility. And that formula goes a little bit like this, Gavin. The more time we spend together, the more comfortable we become. And when there is comfort, then builds trust. And once you have trust with an individual, that opens up communication. So therefore, now you have effective communication between two different cultures, or two different ethnics, or being two different people learning about each other. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so run that past me again. So give me the stages again.
So I said the formula is basically spending more time with another person, learning more about their culture. You begin to develop, you get a sense of comfort. And once you have that comfort, now you can have a trust with that individual. And once there's a trust that's built, now you have effective communication. You can open up a lot more with that individual.
Yeah, I think that's a really accurate model because, as you know, my police career was I spent a lot of time in a place in the UK which is really a really diverse town. It's the most diverse town outside of London. And part of what we used to do is in the police service was to really try and get to know the communities so that we could eventually gain that trust. And it's almost going through those same steps that you just spoke about. In fact, that's
Right.
what we were trying to do from our neighborhood policing, was to get to know the community better. And actually, we'd
Hmm.
often get new communities coming in, and we'd have to go through that process again, trying to understand them, get to know them, okay, building up that communication so they can build up that trust, so
Right.
that we can serve them better. And it's exactly the same with people, individually. I think that's a really good model, and one from my experience, works really well.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what you're saying is basically you go follow those same steps through community policing,
Yes.
actually. So
Yes.
yes, community policing is actually getting out in the neighborhoods, learning
Hmm.
more about the individuals, learning more
Yeah.
about their culture, their
Hmm.
lifestyles, and it forms that comfort zone where you get more
Yes.
comfortable dealing with them. So now it erases that what do you call it? A stigma, that would you call it a stigma that they have towards law enforcement?
Yeah, very
Because
much so. 'Cause, yeah, it could be stigma based on not even experiences, but experiences from where from maybe from countries they've come from, where policing
okay,
is very different. So
okay,
we've got our police force, which is very much about law enforcement, and where in the UK it's very different. It's about um, policing by consent. So it's a very different field, but people don't automatically want to trust the police. So yeah, but I like the thing about building that comfort, so people feeling comfortable with the police. I think that's really good, a
right.
really good phrase. And then once you've got people feeling comfortable, then you can build that trust. And that's a really I've not heard it described in that model before, but I really like it. I think that's a very powerful
Well, the best thing
way
about
to
that
build
model is
relationships. Mm,
even though we both applied it to our police work, but
mm,
it also works especially well with organizations,
right.
inside of organizations. And when
Yes.
two people actually meet inside of an organization, or if they don't understand each other, if they don't know each other, if they don't take
Mm,
the time to spend time with them, get out of their comfort zone. While we were in Thailand, we did a little short little clip on cultural humility as well,
mm,
and we talked about how you get out of your comfort zone. Getting out of your comfort zone is just
mm,
introducing yourself to somebody who's different than you,
mm,
and then taking some time to actually get to know them.
mm.
And traveling is a way of getting out of your comfort zone. Because
Yes.
when we got to Hong Kong, Gavin, I can honestly say I never saw any blacks. I never seen any African Americans. I didn't see anybody with my colored skin. I
No,
did not see it. So it was like
no,
I didn't feel like your daughter, because that's not something that's new to me.
no,
It's I've
no.
been in that situation many, many times before where I'm the only
Mm,
one.
mm,
So it wasn't something that was new to me. So I didn't have that feeling that she had,
hmm.
but I was surprised that I go,
Okay.
man, there's no others. There's
Mm,
no others.
mm,
But it still didn't matter because there was no disrespect.
no.
You didn't feel as if anybody was staring at me. I didn't feel like people were staring at me. I didn't feel like,
Hmm.
people treated me any differently than they treated the
Yeah.
next person. So we still had that, but we got out of our comfort zone and went out into the community, went out into
Mm,
to enjoy some of the what little we could, because we only
mm.
had a few hours, but we did get out there into the city and what was it, Central Hong Kong? Is
Yeah,
that what it
Central
was?
on you were on Kowloon and then on the Hong Kong Island side because you went on the
Yes.
Star Ferry, didn't you? Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we took the ferry across.
Yeah.
Yes. Took pictures of the uh Bruce Lee
Bruce Lee
statue.
statue.
Yes.
You got to do
So,
that. You got
and
to do
then
that.
we after our time in Hong Kong, we then flew on
Mm,
to Thailand. Now in
mm,
Thailand, we first went to Bangkok, and in Bangkok,
mm,
once again, there wasn't a whole lot of people of color.
mm.
I shouldn't say that because there was people of color, not necessarily black. I wouldn't say there was African Americans, or I wouldn't say
Okay.
there were Africans or anything like that. However, we
Mm,
did see a whole lot of Indian persuasion,
yeah.
and then we did see a few other you know uh, I don't know if they were black or not, but you know what I mean. We did
Hmm.
see a few
Yeah. Yeah.
others, people of
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
But once again, it was the same thing. And we did our little brief thing over there. We did a brief little recording for Facebook and LinkedIn, and we talked about the cultural humility. Cultural humility. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert in everyone's culture. But what it does mean is that you understand that there are cultural differences and you're willing to learn, or you're just willing to accept there are many ways to view the world. So that is the definition of cultural humility. So just being willing to accept that there's many ways to view the world. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's interesting. Did you find it easier to do that in a different country? Because I wonder if people find it harder to do it in their own country.
That's a good question. I would think that it was easier because you're forced to.
Yes.
Because, so I guess it's easier because if you don't, how are you going to communicate? How are you going to get around? How are you going to find out things? An interesting thing was we noticed that all the cab drivers in Phuket or in Bangkok did not know where we were trying to get to. And we thought we thought we were given like, famous destinations where everybody's trying to get to. So we said like the Grand Palace and what's the address? I was like, you don't know how to get to the Grand Palace? Or, and then there was a little bit of language difficulties with a few of the cabbies, but taxis, they call them taxis. We had to accommodate our language to understand, a little bit more of that English language, like the lift instead of you saying the elevator.
Yes. Oh, that's brilliant. But how do you use that kind of experience to, back at home in your kind of work, I guess?
Well, we talk about it just like exactly like your daughter said. You can use that experience to now understand where you may have somebody who's like over here in America, like in Orlando, where we're at, we don't have a whole lot of Asians. So if you do see one, you can understand how they're feeling and what they're going through, because nobody is speaking their natural language. Their first language. So they have to adapt and try to assimilate with everything that's going on in our culture. So you understand that. It gives you a good reference of, just like your daughter said, when you're going back home, it makes you wake up and realize that other people are going through that experience on a daily basis, because so many people are not where they actually grew up or where they, were born. Or
and I think that's really important in the workplace, where you might have new people or you join a new team, and because you'll have cliques in any kind of team where people congregate around certain groups, but actually be aware of those people that aren't in those cliques and actually understand how they might be feeling.
What did you call it? Cliques?
Clique. Yeah.
Oh, we call it clique.
Oh, a clique. Okay, so we call it
CLIQUE.
Yes.
A clique. Yeah. Okay.
A clique. I mean,
you call it a clique?
Well, I say the right way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I want to know. We're speaking English, right?
Yeah, King's English.
King's English. Okay.
King's English. But but just understand, actually, if you've been in that experience where you are the only person, and how that feels, recognizing other people might be feeling that. That's just good to know that you can actually try to, go and meet those people and make them feel more comfortable. Just on a very basic level, just showing a bit of respect for people is very powerful, I think, in the workplace.
Yes. One of the ways you can do that is just get out of your comfort zone and go meet and greet individuals that are not like you. Take the time to go to lunch with them, have a conversation. Like I wanted to talk to you about, we were in Hong Kong. Is there any faux pas that we do that are considered, natural things that we do in America that can be considered a faux pas in Chinese?
I'm not even sure I know enough about the culture to say that. But what I would say, there are simple things like in Thailand, when you go into certainly some of the monasteries and the temples, because you obviously take your shoes off, one thing you do
Right.
not do is point with your feet. That's a big no-no. So if you're pointing towards the Buddha or something with your feet, that's really disrespectful.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Did I not tell you that one?
So you can't point your feet towards
Well,
the
you wouldn't be sitting there and just say, "Oh, look over," like say you're lying sitting on the ground. You wouldn't point towards the Buddha with your foot. Say, "Oh, look over there," or that would be very disrespectful.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't do that. Because I did not know that. I mean, I don't think I would have done that, but I did not know that.
No.
But that's like I said, it's getting out of your comfort zone and getting to learn a little bit about somebody else's culture and stuff. So
fantastic.
That's what we have for today, Gavin. So we're going to go ahead and call it quits. And it was a welcome back to see you again. And I look forward to next week. We'll be continuing on with our improvement for workplace environments and helping HR personnel to improve their workplace environments, build that team cohesion, and get that boost that employee morale. And until then, we're going to say goodbye for now. And I'm your host, Arnold Smalley, along with our co-host,
Gavin Wong.
And we're saying goodbye for now.